What's up, guys? Welcome back to our Team Solemn's Circus video. We are going back over another DB duel. We are going to be seeing here the player on the top here going first. So looking in, we are going to be seeing it's Drytron versus Memento Fiendsmith. Now we are playing the Memento deck a little bit differently now. We're only playing one copy of the Fiendsmith for now, which is I'll show you guys in the deck profile if you guys watched it yesterday. Make sure you check it out. This is going to be kind of our testing. You know, we are playing a bunch of different decks. He's on Drytron here. So we do see a copy of Fiendsmith Engraver in the hand, a DD Crow, a Magnamut, a Droll and Lockbird, and a copy of Goblin. So we do have 3 hand traps, one of them being a high impact hand trap, as well as a copy of Goblin and a Engraver. Both cards, let's carry 1-card combo. This is kind of a brick in the hand now because we are only playing one of it. And then over here we see a Drytron Nova, a copy of New 2. We see a Droplets, a Emergency, and a copy of Alpha. So we see 2 names. This is kind of a bow to see. We see an Extender as well as a copy of a card that lets you search for another one, and then a copy of a hand trap. So if we were going second, we would have been able to kind of break the board with another card here. But, you know, we do have something. Now, I'm going to mention the Droll and Lockbird, and I guess the DD Crow as well. You know, those are the 2 kind of odd balls. Now, whenever we join a format, in the start of the format, we always see the Droll and Lockbird being kind of relevant. That's the only reason why. In a couple of weeks, you guys might see the deck, or might see the card being dropped. I just found that it's really good against Snake Eye, Yubel, and the other cards right now, being able to like the kind of hit and stop the deck completely. Sometimes, you know, if you have a copy of, let's say Bonfire being activated, you Droll on Resolution, it's going to hurt them quite a bit. But we're going to be diving on in here with the Drytron deck, going to be using Cyber Emergency here, searching for a copy of the Drytron guy. They're going to go effect, summon out the Zeta, summon out the copy of the Delta with the copy of the Drytron name and the Drytron Nova. And then go up into a copy of Silhouette Rabbit, place the copy of Silhouette Hat Trick. Now you can play the copy of Azul. He just wants to play that one instead because he likes the effect that you can negate like some of the field spells and other cards like Snake Eyes Ash. Being able to negate that permanently can kind of be useful in this deck, which is kind of nice. I understand kind of the reasoning why you want to be playing it. I just think that, you know, obviously I like Azul better myself, therefore I'm playing that one myself. But we're going to be seeing Droll kind of shut down this deck, making them essentially go for the backup plan here. And we do draw into another copy of DD Crow. Now we are only playing DD Crow at 2 here, so we see a 1 of, a 2 of, a 1 of, and a 1 of in the hand. Not looking too good for us. Now we do start with a copy of Goblin here, and now we do activate the effect. It does resolve, which is very interesting because we are going to be seeing a lot of times like the 1-card Goblin does get hit with a lot of stuff, but if they have a hand trap to hit that, and we have a copy of what's the word I'm looking for? The Bone Party or the Fusion with another Memento in the hand, we can dodge their hand trap there. So we see them, let that resolve. We dump a copy of Gaddock as well as the copy of Sleepy, or in this case we're going to dump Bone Party. We then go Gaddock, summon itself out, then add the Bone Party here. This does play a lot more into Ash Blossom, but it's going to be fine. We're going to be going for Bone Party into the copy of Anguish. Anguish can activate the effect, and they do think on this, searching for the copy of Tachino Shigu. Now we're going to activate the effect here, summoning itself out, and then we're going to be seeing the Silhouette Hat Trick negate this. So this is another reason why we are choosing to play the Azul instead. This essentially acts as a sort of imperm-like effect on summon, but only hurts the monsters. So in this case here, we are going to be seeing both these cards get hit, air quotes hit with imperm. Now, we can tag out into the copy here of the Goblin, but in this case, it's not going to do very much for us, which is why we need to play a copy here of the Moon, which I'm going to mention. We link up into a copy of Moon here, and then we go up into the Requiem. Requiem can actually summon from the hand. You can play multiple copies of Engraver as well if you want to. We're just choosing not to there. And then we do go effect here, banishing the copy of there, getting another body on the field. And then we're going to be seeing the Requiem going to equip. And now we're going to activate the effect of Engraver, sending this copy of Silhouette Hat Trick there to actually, send the Silhouette Hat Trick. We don't need the Princess tier because we're going to be just linking away. So just having that, being able to send a card just kind of feels a little bit more free. And it is kind of hard to beat over because they are, you know, the illusion monsters, which can't be beat over by battle. So we see us go for the sequence here, and then we can activate the effective sequence, and they do droplets this, you know, making sure that we cannot attack, and that's going to be kind of fine. We can send back out the Engraver. If we wouldn't, we would have been able to go for the copy of the Desiree there, and then Desiree going to be able to equip, but we do here go for the copy of the Engraver here, just to beat over some, making some damage. And we can also go for a copy of IP or SP. I guess we'll go for an SP in this case. But we just go into the end phase. We search for the Magma, choosing not to go for the copy of Druid Worm, or choosing not to go for a copy of the SP there to banish anything, because a lot of the cards are not going to matter. Like we have a copy of Druid Worm, which is going to be able to stop these, as well as double DD Crows. Like in this case, what are we going to banish? One of these two cards, and they can kind of play through the SP. Now, if we do leave on the field, we have triple banish cards here, which is going to be quite nice, as well as if the opponent does not get rid of these cards, we're going to win very hard next turn by being able to bring back, as well as, you know, even potentially fuse. So we're going to see them pass turn. They do draw a copy of Imperm, which is a dead card here, and they do activate the effect of Zeta, sending a copy of the Mewtwo to the graveyard. And this is like one of the important cards that you have to mention. Like, we know that all the Drytron names essentially take a send, so they have to have another Drytron name in the hand, and then chances are they'll have to have another Drytron name as well. At that point, you know, they're going to be using two cards here. We just have double DD Crow, and then it's going to be losing the game, essentially going -1 there twice. So we do see the Drytron being activated. We do activate the effect of Druid Worm, forgetting that they have no monster on their field, so we just chain that to a copy of DD Crow, and it essentially does the exact same thing. Now, moving on to game 2 there, we saw both hands not being very well. Droll and Loppers being very good against the Drytron deck, and then, of course, our hand not being the greatest. And diving on to game 2, we see, for us, we have a copy of Engraver, once again, the one of, a copy of Anguish. We have bumped this up to 3 currently. You know, we are playing less of the, well, now Engraver is not a 1-card starter. Therefore, we want to bump back it up to 9 starters there. We are playing the Droll and Loppard, as well as a copy of DD Crow. Very good hand traps against our opponent's deck. And the copy of Bone Party as well, to kind of like play through combo pieces with the copy of Anguish. So we have 2 hand traps, and then kind of like 2 starters, or a starter and an extender, which is quite nice. And then for our opponent, we have a copy of Zeta, Ben 10, a copy of the Yugiohtcg Alpha Drytron thing, Droll and Loppard, and a copy of Herald. So we have a good normal summon, which is going to be most likely an extender piece. We have the Zeta, as well as a copy of Ben 10, so we're going to be able to search, and then be able to search for multiple cards here. The copy of the Yugiohtcg Alpha Mega thing, this is going to let us search for another spell, as well as being an extender. So you always have that as well. So they have like a starter, an extender, and then a searcher, which one hand trap, which is quite nice. But the deck is a lot of, you know, combo pieces. But diving on in, we're going to be seeing them activate the Zeta, summon with the copy of the Ben 10. We do chain the copy of DD Crow on that Ben 10, making it so they cannot activate the effects in the graveyard. They do search for a copy of the Ritual spell here. And then on resolution, we do drop that copy of Droll and Lockbird. They normal summon up the Diviner, sending level 4 just to make it so it's a higher level. Going up to an FA Drawn Dragster, which is going to be making it gain the attack and be a spell and trap in the A tier. Quite nice against this deck. So we do draw into a copy of Ash Blossom there. So they have a spell and trap negate, as well as a copy of Herald, or as well as a copy of the Droll and Lockbird. They can't activate the Herald because obviously they can't search. But they are going to be, like, we know we have this in hand, and so they have like 2 unknowns essentially for us. But we do normal summon with a copy of the Witch, and that's going to be able to search for the copy of the Sleepy here. They do Droll and Resolution. We do chain a copy of Bone Party. They do chain that copy of Drawn Dragster here. We then get to summon with the copy of Tachinu Shigu. And I think this was very well played on the Drytron player's part. I can't really speak for myself. I'm obviously the player. But yeah, chaining the copy of Droll. And we chain this here, hoping they do negate it. Now, obviously, we can have another spell being activated this turn. But we can't really surge it, which is going to be very hard for us to kind of play through it. But yeah, we can dump here. Dumping the copy of the Gaddock, as well as the copy of the Sleepy, which can then summon itself out. Gaddock can then actually activate the effect, add back the Sleepy here. We can then activate the Sleepy, summoning out a copy of the Twin Dragon or the copy of the big guy, depending on what we want. We're going to go for the big guy here. It's going to be able to send 3. Sending the copy of the Fusion. I was going to say, we don't need to send the extra deck monster because we are not going to be banishing the search. We send this one here, which is going to be able to put back 1, 2, 3, 4. And we don't have a 5th name there, which is going to be very unfortunate. We shouldn't send the Anguish there. We should send anything else. Therefore, we just keep the Anguish in the graveyard. Kind of misplaying, but I think we still correct it there. We do activate the Fusion monster, destroying both. And like with that, we wouldn't have been able to like win the game, but we're still able to put back, leaving all of them to summon out the big guy. And we're going to attack for 5,000, which is quite a lot of damage there. leaving them on a 3K and just passing on that with an Ash Blossom in the hand. Now, when their opponent activates anything, we are going to be able to chain, bring out the copy of Anguish, which can then activate the effect, bring out a copy of the Sleepy. Sleepy can then fuse if we get something destroyed. And very important to note that it has to be destroyed there. So we see a copy of Talents, and then we're going to be going for the Zeta sending. And we do send the copy of the Yugiohtcg Alpha. So now we have one card left in hand, and we have used the only copy of the Drytron that we do have. So we are thinking on this. I feel like we just chain Ash, right? We let that resolve. Then we chain the copy of the Anguish here, searching for a copy of Sleepy. And we can't Sleepy here. Okay, so we can't Sleepy. We know that now. We do Talents attempt to draw 2. We do Ash that. And all of a sudden, the game's just over there. We know the last card in the hand is the Drytron Meteonis. You know, so now they can't even beat over anything. We haven't gone into extra deck, therefore they can't go in for a Typhon angle. And we know the game's just over at them immediately. You know, during the follow-up turn, we're going to draw an additional card as well as have the copy of the Fusion, which can banish itself to destroy the copy of Anguish and then be able to search for another copy of Fusion. Sleepy will then be able to trigger, bring itself out, activate the effect, fuse for the copy of Twin Dragon. Then we're going to be able to go to our OTK here. So we see that Mementos end up taking the win against the Drytron deck. I don't know how good this deck is in the current format. I know a lot of people are testing it because of the fact that Ava came back. I think the deck is just unfortunately too much of a engine deck compared to hand traps. Like we're going to be seeing Snake Eye, Yubel, Memento, and a bunch of other decks as well playing, like Tempai, playing many hand traps. And unfortunately, if you can't play those hand traps or some board breakers, you're just unfortunately not going to be able to keep up. But regardless, hope you're watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, see more content like this. Stay safe. Peace.